Hello, crafty friends. I'm so glad you could join me. Today I've got a card for you that I made using supplies from scrapbook.com. This is the Playful card stock pad from scrapbook.com. It's 85 pounds and all of these colors are chosen to work well together. Kind of reminds me a little bit of summer here for some reason. Also, these colors I think would be great for any masculine card as well. But I'm making this today with the Scrapbook metal dies. These are the nested stars, and I'm going to also use the Happy Birthday die from scrapbook.com. So I'm using those two stars, and I'm going to use the larger one by itself and cut out the different colors of cardstock. I'm just putting those two together so that way I can cut out more stars more quickly. And now I'm going to layer the two together to create a frame or an outline shape that will have a hollow center. So that's what I'm doing right here, and just using some post-it tape to hold that down. And then I can play around with the different combinations of stars and frames and things like that. And there's so many different options. When you use these geometric shapes, you can layer them on your card base any way you want and just have so much fun playing around, trying to figure out what you like and where you want them and how you want to lay them out and so on and so forth, what colors you want to use together and all that good stuff. So it's lots of fun. So I'm just using my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine here, along with this magic mat from scrapbook.com. That helps me keep my die cutting plates, those acrylic clear ones, from getting all bent out of shape and marred up from the dies. Now, one of the things I'm going to do too to make this card more interesting is I'm going to use this this is a sack that came from an onion, that red one there, and I'm just layering my foam pad there. It's not a foam pad, it's that tan mat that you use that's flexible in order to emboss, and so I'm just using that onion paper to emboss. And my card today is going to be a 5x7. I'm using Nina Solar White, and you have to decide how you want to lay this card, if you want the emboss side or the deboss side. I chose the deboss side. That's what you saw just a second ago there when I flipped the paper over. So here I'm just playing around with all the stars and how I want to lay them all out. Now the stars I chose, the larger one there, I thought the reason I'm using a 5x7 because I thought the A2 size was a little bit too small for these larger stars. I mean, you could do it, but you'd have to fit less on the page. So I just wanted to have a bigger background to work with, a bigger, I don't know what you call it, but you know, your surface area. So I wanted to have a bigger area to play around with all these stars. And you could layer these out in many numerous ways, lots of different creative options. I'm just playing around here, having some fun with these stars. And this is kind of what I finally decided to go with. So I'm going to offset the frame a little bit here. So I think that looks kind of neat. And I'm going to just use some Tombow Mono to adhere the frames to the solid stars. And then I will be ready to place them on my card panel here. And this is a card panel that I cut out. It's also 5x7, but I'm going to trim it down later. So you can see here I'm placing this so that there's a little bit of overhang and offset. I'm offsetting it so that you get to see that. I think that's kind of a neat effect. Having a little bit of trouble here with my Tombow Mono, so I'm just using that little pin there to push in where the opening is and hopefully clear the dried glue so that it will flow better. Having a little bit more trouble. So I love my Tombow Mono. I use it so much. Okay, so when I'm done with this, you guys, I'm gonna just trim up a couple of those edges there. I want some of it to show, but only on the one side, not the other. So I'm trimming that down a little bit. And I think that looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and place these on my paper here. And in a minute, you're going to see that I run it through my die cut machine again. And it's not because I'm trying to cut anything or anything. I just like to kind of press these stars into the paper a little bit, it gives it kind of a neat looking effect. I don't know if you can really tell the difference. I can in person. I think it's kind of neat the way it looks. I like it. So I ran it through my die cutting machine just to push those stars into the paper a little bit more. So when I do this, you'll see here that it does take away some of that embossing a little bit. And so I added an extra cardboard shim because I wanted to really push those stars in, and that's where it kind of really took away. You can still see it, but I wanted it to be a little more pronounced. So I'll go back over with it again later. I'll show you what I do. But here I'm just using some double-sided adhesive from Scrapbook.com to cut out the happy birthday out of silver mirrored cardstock. And I'm putting that extra cardboard shim because I want to make sure the die cuts my paper. Whenever I use the double-sided adhesive, I usually need that extra layer. So you can see there that you just peel it up and you've got a sticky surface and you don't have to play around with Tombow Mono. This font is a little bit, the lines are thin. So you have to be careful. Like with this birthday, I had trouble. I couldn't get it off without tearing it and ripping it. So I ended up just cutting it out again out of the silver mirrored cardstock without the double-sided adhesive, because you see here I'm having so much trouble. It's really sticky. So that's, I think, why you have so much trouble, because it's super sticky and it sticks to your fingers. And then if it's a very delicate font, it's going to rip. So I just went ahead and cut it out by itself, and I'm going to use some Tombow Mono to adhere it. And I think that looks really pretty. Happy birthday. I love that. It's so pretty. All right, so I'm just going to use my Tombow Mono, like I said, to place these. And my little tool here, my pickup tool I have in my hand, I can't remember if I actually used it or not. Maybe to place the little dot on the birthday. But I'm just going to add some of this Tombow Mono all the way around the back of these letters. And I hope that I encouraged you guys today to use your geometric shaped dies, because you can do so many different things with them. I mean, there's tons of things. You could take the stars and turn them into balloons by adding, drawing, or tying string to them or something to make it look like balloons. There's so many different things you can do. It's kind of cool and kind of fun to play around. That's kind of what I enjoy the most about card making, is you get to play around and have so much fun with all of your different ideas, and your creativity can just bloom and blossom, and that's kind of nice. So there we go. Now all I have to do is add that dot. I'm going to add some glue to the back because that Y was kind of coming up. Okay, so now that I got that Y down, I'm going to put the little dot down on birthday. And this is where I use that little tool to help me place that little dot. And this is an adhesive eraser that helps you get rid of stray adhesive on your card. Now this is where I went back in with just a small piece of that onion bag, and I wanted to sort of make that embossing stand out a little bit more. So I'm only doing it on select areas of the card. And you know what? It's kind of neat because it actually looks like the bottom of a shooting star. So I think it kind of, the theme sort of ties in together there. These little extra deeper parts on the card with that embossing reminds me of the tails of shooting stars. It's kind of cool, I think. So when I'm all done here, you'll see the finished effect. But I am going to trim this down because I want to have, I want to put like a silver border all the way around. And since this panel is 5x7 and my card base is 5x7, I needed to trim off 1/4 of an inch on both sides and on top and bottom. So I think what I did was I did an 1/8 on both sides, so that would give me a 1/4 inch. And then I did a 1/8 on the top and the bottom. And that gave me that little, you know, that 1/4 of an inch area. Or did I? Did I do a 1/4 or an 1/8? I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm using this border sticker. It's from Love from Lizzie, which is in the UK. So if you do like this and decide to order it, you'll have to pay extra shipping and stuff. But here's a look at the final card. And I hope you had fun today, and I hope I inspired you to go and create something. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.